Today we're doing more activities for week 2 of Knights of North Castle Vacation Bible School. So if you look in your bag of goodies, you will find all kinds of bags that are listed week 2. And the one that we're going to do together right now is the one that says week 2 Goliath Rock Craft. And you're going to need everything that's in this bag, and you're going to need your bag of crayons. I've already dumped my bag of crayons out on the table because I like to be able to see all the different colors. I'll be honest, I think this craft is really kind of funny. It is all about our Bible adventure for today, which is David and Goliath. You can take the pieces out of the bag. There's only 2. One real skinny one and one not so skinny one. And if you look on the little skinny one, there is only one tiny little thing to color, and it's a circle right there. And that is our little tiny stone that is so important for today's story. I think I am going to color my stone brown. I don't have a gray, so I think I'm going to do it brown. A little brown stone. But even though it's little, it's very important stone. Then, on my bigger paper, there's a whole picture I can color. And this picture says so much about today's Bible story. You'll notice here there's a little boy. His name is David. And here there is a great big giant. And that giant, his name is Goliath. And boy, was he tall. He was almost 10 feet tall. That's like all the way from your floor to your ceiling. Huge. Well, Goliath wanted to fight all of the people that lived in the same place as David. But guess what? They were all big chickens. And they were hiding. They did not want to go anywhere near Goliath because he was so big and strong. Even the king at the time, King Saul, he wouldn't even go fight Goliath. But David knew that God would keep him safe. And so even though it seemed crazy for a boy to fight a giant, David said he was not going to be afraid. He was going to stand up for what he knew was right. He was going to make sure that everybody knew with God's strength, they could overcome anything. So David told King Saul, I'm not afraid. I will go and I will fight that big old giant. Now here's kind of a funny part. King Saul said, well, if you're that brave, I'll let you use my suit of armor because you're just a boy. You don't even have a suit of armor yet. But have you ever tried to put on your mom or dad's shoes? There was no way you could walk around all day in those big old shoes, was there? Well, that was the same for David. There was no way he could wear that big old suit of armor. He would have tipped right over. And then he could not have defeated the big old Goliath. So David said, thanks for the offer, Saul, but I think I'll just do what I am used to doing. I will use my slingshot. When David went down to fight the big giant, the giant laughed at him and said, oh, this is so funny. The only person they have left to send out to beat me is a kid. And you think you can take me down? And David said something that's very, very wise, which means it meant a lot, and it was very important. He said, you come at me with words, which means you're picking on me. But I come at you in the name of God, which means that David knew God was on his side and that God was much bigger than Goliath. So he took that little stone and he put it in his sling. You can see this little thing right here. That's a slingshot. And he shot that stone and it flew and it hit that big old giant right there in the head. and that giant tipped over. That was the end of Goliath. Everybody loved David for taking care of Goliath, for getting rid of that big old giant. But David said, remember, it was God who delivered us from the giant. Today's castle call out is armor up with justice or righteousness. And we're talking about the breastplate, which David didn't even have because he didn't have a suit of armor. But he did stand up for what was right. He stood up for what he knew to be true. And that was that no matter what, God would take care of him in this situation. Once you finish coloring your picture of David, you can take your little skinny paper and you can poke it through one side. Hold on here. Let me get it right. Let me poke it through this side. And then you can poke this end through this side. And you can pull your little rock over to David's sling. See, my little rock is over on David's sling. And then you can pull it to where, dunk, it hits the big old giant and he'll fall down. Maybe you can even use this to tell your mom and dad the exciting Bible adventure about David and Goliath. And tell them that you know that God is bigger than any giant. And that we can have confidence that God is with us. I think I'm going to color my giant. I'm going to give him green teeth because I bet he doesn't brush his teeth. I bet he doesn't listen to his mom very well, so I'm going to give him green and black teeth like he has cavities. Poor guy. Oh no, I didn't go to the dentist. Color his spear.